whatever leg you want to be first, but I want you to be in 90-90. So front leg, 90 degrees, back leg, 90 degrees. So these knees, boom, and boom, okay? So hand here, hand here. Where do you feel this sensation? Because the thing we're gonna focus on is your back hip.
That's where I feel right now.
You should feel on that outside hip, okay?
Perfect.
Our goal, well, we notice a lot of people, they're really good at bringing themselves into external rotation, pigeon stretch. We always do this before we run, right? Internal rotation is the other way. It's bringing my foot outside of my hip. That's what we're focusing on your back leg. So I'm gonna actually have you take this arm, rotate, and now we're gonna sink down into that stretch. You should feel that out here, okay? A lot of people can't even get to that. They're gonna be so sitting up right here where they can't even get into that stretch. So first is you just getting into here, okay? So this is our flexibility. This isn't even the mobility part yet. Mobility means we have to have something active. There needs to be a strength component, a control component to that, okay? So let's bring you actually back to here. What I wanna see, well, keeping this knee down, can you actually raise and lift this foot off the ground? Whew.
Definitely challenging to do
tough,
so.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the active part of using that hip. It doesn't want to move, does it?
No.
Okay, so for those of you guys struggle with getting into this position, let alone lifting the foot here, I want you to drop to your left elbow. Now from here, can you pick this foot up off the ground? A little easier, still challenging, but for those that can't even get any motion, this is where we start. Now when you're doing mobility training, I want it to be same principles as strength training. You shouldn't just be able to do 20 easy reps, blah, blah, blah. Got to make it challenging. So get yourself a little higher up again on your hand, and let's just do a few really challenging reps here. Use all of this tissue here. Good. Feel like you might want to cramp here, huh?
Yeah, I definitely feel it starting to cramp.
It's okay. Good. And relax a second. If you look though, Chase has a lot of passive motion. This is your flexibility. Look at all the stuff that you can't control. You can only get your foot up to here. Now let's have you try to hold. Ready? Let go. Ready? I'm gonna let go. Hold, hold, hold. There it is, relax. So that's what I look at too with a lot of my runners is they're flexible. They stretch all day long. Look at that. How much can you actually use then? That's your mobility. Go for it again. Pick it up. There we go. We're starting to build that connection back because look how much space you have here now.
Yeah, wow.
All of a sudden your body's starting to understand that's usable, usable tissue. Good, relax. Let's try the other side. That's your stretch first, right? You feel probably in that outside hip.
This one I feel like I'm struggling to feel as much.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're starting to feel it.
There we go. So that's flexibility. Most people do, they'll hang out in a stretch, okay, and then they go, I'm ready to go. Well, I want to see your active control now. So you can all square your shoulders off a little bit. Keep this thing down. I want you to drive from that ankle. Good. Yeah, you got a good amount. But do you see what happens with your back when I start to move your hip?
Starts to move along
Starts to move along with it. So that's another reason why we want to disassociate the hip from your low back. This is important. So now when you go to lift, try to keep yourself here. Yeah. Feel a difference?
Definitely a lot harder.
That's where a lot of people, they buy motion there.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep you here. Now go ahead and lift.
So how often would you recommend to do something like this?
I would do a couple sets every few days. You think about like strength training, right? You don't need to do it every single day, but it should be challenging enough where you don't want to do it every day.
Sure.
People don't go in the gym and do curls every day. They do it every few days or twice a week. But you shouldn't with mobility training just come in and say, hey, I'm going to do 50 of these. You should get to like 10, 12 reps and be like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
So for some runners that aren't like Chase, they might be like, wow, that's super easy. What I do is I put them up on a block and say, now go ahead and try to lift.
Yeah, it's tough not moving the back too.
Yeah. So it's a little different. I can bring you more towards your end range, but 8 to 10 of these is going to be a lot more challenging than say, 20 of these down here. Cool. So that's the biggest one I use for hips. Most often, it's internal rotation that people lack, especially in runners, because how often do you get in that position when you run? Never. Your hips are usually, they're good at stabilizing running, but they're not great at moving into rotation, and that's the building block of a hip is rotation.
Yeah, 100%. I like it.
Cool.
Sweet.